The closer we get to September 13th, 2025, the more this matchup feels like something bigger than a fight. Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence, but Crawford isn't just about titles or weight classes. It's become a referendum on legacy, adaptability, and a quiet intelligence that separates great fighters from the greatest. It's a collision of styles, eras, and mentalities, and it's coming to a global stage with a massive twist. The event will stream on Netflix. That alone guarantees a worldwide spotlight. But what's drawing so much attention from boxing fans and analysts is the substance of the matchup itself, and the growing chorus of voices weighing in on what it will take to win. Lennox Lewis didn't hesitate to frame it in the starkest terms. For him, this fight is more mental than physical. It's not that size and power won't matter. They always matter. But Lewis emphasized that Crawford's ring IQ, footwork, and ability to adjust quickly could tilt everything in his favor. According to Lewis, Crawford's understanding of rhythm, his clean angles, and his patience under pressure make him dangerous in ways that statistics don't always capture. Some fights are won with a jab. Some are won in exchanges. This one might be won in the space between the punches. Lewis wasn't interested in making a definitive pick. He's been asked a million times, and he knows the sport too well to predict a sure outcome between fighters at this level. When pressed on whether the bout goes the distance or ends inside the distance, he called it interesting and left it there. That wasn't a cop-out. It was a nod to how much of this comes down to the choices each man makes in the moment. If Crawford controls pace and stacks points early, gets ahead and stays ahead, Lewis believes he can carry that mental edge to the final bell. If Canelo sets his feet, breaks rhythm with heavy counters, and slows the ring down to his preferred tempo, the dynamic changes fast. There's also a hard truth hanging in the background. Can Crawford even win a close decision against a star Canelo's stature? It's the kind of question you hear in barbershops and boxing gyms more than in press conferences, but it's part of the story. Some fans still bring up scorecard from past Canelo fights and argue that a challenger has to win big to get the nod. True or not, that perception shapes the stakes. It adds urgency to the idea that Crawford can't just edge rounds. He has to take them clearly. He has to bank early lead, then defend it with discipline. Coach Bernie, one of the people who knows Crawford's tendencies intimately, leaned hard into something a lot of people overlook. He doesn't just think Crawford punches hard. He thinks Crawford precision makes him feel even heavier. He called Bud's hands bricks. And while that might sound like hype, there's a kernel of boxing truth inside it. Sharp, accurate shots do more damage than big, looping ones. They land before you see them, and they land on the right spots. That's what Coach Bernie meant. Bud's power isn't just about raw strength. It's about timing, balance, and the kind of speed that turns clean contact into sudden problems. By Bernie's measure, that kind of sharpness is something Canelo hasn't dealt with much lately. Not to say he hasn't fought dangerous punchers, he has, but the opponents that come up in these conversations, like Jamie Munguia or Edgar Berlanga, don't mirror Crawford's style of sudden, surgical accuracy. Crawford's shots don't telegraph. You catch them late, or you don't see them at all. And when the punch you don't see lands clean, it disrupts everything. Your guard, your legs, your plan. The anticipation for this fight is part technical, part emotional. Canelo has built his career on world-class counterpunching, layered defense, and a thudding body attack that breaks opponents in half by the championship rounds. Crawford, by contrast, is a shapeshifter, elusive, unpredictable, with a switch-hitting arsenal that he uses to paint new problems every few rounds. He's an orthodox fighter one moment, a southpaw the next, and he hardly ever let an opponent get comfortable. This is the kind of style clash that makes the sport special, and for the first time in a while, a lot of people feel like Canelo is facing a man who will challenge him on every level. If you think that's hyperbole, listen to Amir Khan. He's in a rare position. He fought both Canelo and Crawford, and he's felt their strengths from the inside. Khan respects Canelo, how could he not? But he believes Crawford wants this more right now, not because of marketing or headlines, but because of where the two men are in their careers. In Khan's eyes, Crawford's fresher, hungrier, more locked in. He sees a fighter ready to sacrifice to win. And he's not convinced the same fire is burning in Canelo, especially after recent performance against the Cuban contender William Skull, where Canelo seemed content to manage the fight, bank rounds, and move on. Khan also shared something that tracks with what other sparring partners have said about Crawford over the years. He adapts constantly. When Khan worked with him in camp, he tried different strategies, tested ideas to see what might work, and Crawford always adjusted. He improved as the work went on. He made little reads, small changes, and then bigger ones. Khan came away impressed not only with Bud's skills, but with his approach. He seeks out difficult problems and solves them. That's part of why Khan, even with full respect to Canelo, picks Crawford. Still, this story has a training camp subplot that refuses to go away. Canelo Alvarez brought in Jaron Boots Ennis for sparring, and that decision lit up the boxing world. Photos of the two together spread fast, and the reaction was immediate. Many saw it as a sign of respect. Canelo and Eddie Reynoso are taking Crawford's style seriously and looking for the best possible look in the gym. Others question the comparison, pointing out that while Ennis and Crawford share traits, switch hitting, athleticism, counterpunching, they are not the same kind of fighter. That's the honest reality. Ennis is a force of nature, with explosive power, fast twitch reactions, and the ability to pressure you into mistakes. He's comfortable in both stances, and his check hook out of southpaw is the kind of shot you don't forget if you walk into it. He can use a Philly shell, catch and counter, and he's just as happy leading exchanges as he is punishing them. Those are incredibly useful tools to face in sparring if you're preparing for Terence Crawford. It shouldn't be controversial to say that. At the same time, no one in the sport would claim that sparring Ennis is the same as sparring Crawford. It's not, but it's probably the best approximation you can get. Stephen Breadman. Edwards brought the conversation back down to earth. He pointed out what trainers tell each other behind closed doors all the time. Sparring is a heartbeat of camp, but it's not a crystal ball. Fighters use sparring to rehearse ideas, to test counters, to get used to the intensity they'll feel on the night. Getting the right sparring tells you a fighter is serious. It doesn't guarantee a win. For Edwards, the timing of when Canelo invited Ennis was just as smart as the choice itself. Bring him in too early and Boots might light you up before you're sharp. Bring him in a few weeks before the fight, when your timing is peaking and you can absorb the work, learn from it, and leave camp better. If that makes it sound like Canela's camp is all upside right now, pump the brakes. One of the biggest questions around Alvarez is about VGS legs. Even in VGS 20s, he isn't known for blistering foot speed. VGS game has always been about economy to step through a rotor stick fire, maximum effect with minimal motion. Lately, though, some observers feel the motion has slowed. Is now in VGS mid-30s, fighting larger men at 168 pounds. If you thought VGS fit look heavy against Williams Coley-Big, still the super middleweight who spent long stretches circling Curran not alone. Against someone as quick and coordinated as Crawford, those punches could become gaps. As WHO as this fight pulls people into directions. On one hand, the case for Crawford is obvious. He has the faster feet and hands. He's got that ring IQ Lennox Lewis talked about. He's comfortable switching in the middle of exchanges and turning a their strings on theorem. He's one of the best finishers in Bahink when he smelled blood. And is dilating mentally in a way that makes believers out of skeptics. On the other hand, Canelo is a naturally bigger man at super middleweight. He's vowed and beaten large, strong champions at 168. He absorbs punches better than almost anyone in the sport. He knows how to punish the body, how to set traps with which he is guard, how to make you pay for reaching. If he can time Crawford, if he can slow him down with counters and deep to the ribs, early Canelo can make the ring feel small very quickly. That's where the hot knife through a butter talk comes from. Some fancy Canelo связан на position the speciality or big super middleweights and shade their hits at the idea that a former welterweight can walk him down. They look at guys as strong as Colenting. If those men saw on Bully Canelo, how is Boot going to? It's a fair question, and it leads to a logical conclusion. Crawford cannot trade recklessly. He can't ROI to prove a point in the pocket for too long. He has to be crafty, clever, and accurate from the outside. He has to work in bears, pick angles, and collect points without seeking around for receipts. The other truth that keeps surfacing, both men are dealing with something unfamiliar. Crawford is moving up into a division where the natural strength, size, and clinch control of opponents are different. It's one thing to dominate at 147 and 154. It's certain to raise a prevent champion at 168 who spent years making big men miss and pay. Meanwhile, Canelo is dealing with a style he hasn't hit to solve over in recent years. And jedete si cheater with great feet, jedete timing, and a knack for turning mistakes into quick momentum swings. If you're a Canelo, has WHO inspire someone like Bootsings. It's not about copying Crawford, it's about learning how to remain past inside chairs. Line up the tactical beats and you start to see what both sides will aim for. Crawford will want to establish his jab early and transform it constantly. Sometimes it's a range in gear, sometimes it's a feint, sometimes it's a disguise for something sharp coming behind IT. He switch thanks to change the angles on Canelo's counters and test which looks draw the most predictable reactions. ETRY to finish rounds with floor, understanding the psychology of judges who remember the last big moment of a frame. Canelo will look to touch the body whenever which his feet can get him there safely. He sit in the pocket with small shifts, using his shoulders and gloves as a shield, waiting for Crawford to overcome it. He counter with short, heavy shot hooks, uppercuts, and crisscrosses is still there out of slick movers. ETRY to keep Crawford near the ropes for longer stretches where he can work in 3s and 4s instead of 1s and 2s. Both men also understand the narrative outside the ring. Crawford's team has about whether he can win a tie decision. Canelo's team has a narrative about each legs and output. Each camp will be trying to earn this toss in the ring. Expect to start fast enough to establish a foothold in the early scoring and expect Canelo to target the body early enough to affect Crawford's movement down the stretch. It's chess at a painful speed. As all of this builds, the stage itself keeps getting bigger. The fight is officially set to stream on Netflix, bringing a heavyweight platform to a true mega effect. That one changes how casual fans interact with the sport. No pay-per-view again battles, no cables or satellite package, just a global streaming event that practically invites neutral viewers to tune in. IT consoles combat sports are shifting quickly. With TKO, the company formed by the UFC and WWE merged, exploring new media and promotional models. There has been a lot of chat around the sport about unusual collaborations, including the involvement of big powerfully power brokers who want to make big nights even bigger. Donate's name has been flagged in connection with promotion on certain backing events, and the idea of him attached to a neatly centered card has drawn reactions across the spectrum. Some find IT strange, others see it as a natural evolution of sports entertainment. However, it takes shape behind the scenes. The message for fans is simple. The ace of the world will be on Canelo vs. Crawford, and that pressure millions watching on a massive platform changes how fighters feel in the minutes before the opening bell. It's not just prize fighting, it's a cultural moment. Back in the GYM, the Bootsings chapter will remain part of the story right up until fight week. Canelo's decision to bring him in sends a message. He is not underestimating Crawford. He's looking for tempo, angles, and the RH teaching of a fight who can switch, counter, and lead. Had smart preparation. And if you talk to people who have spent time around tennis, he tell you he brings energy into a sparring room that you can't fake. He doesn't love. He doesn't drift. He takes problems. That's exactly the kind of look Canelo needs now.